up. Yeah, you're gonna be stopped anyways, man. Ain't nobody behind me yet.
This hill was where it got real.
Hey, Dad, over on the right, on the far side of the river, what kind of creature is that crawling around on the ice? Seriously, man? And I don't know what that is. Might be a beaver. I'm not going up until you radio me that you're at the top and clear, Matt. Sounds good. Be careful on that slippage to the left. Yeah, I looked at this hill before when we were waiting. It didn't look like the tire ruts were messed up. It shouldn't be too concerning. Matt's stuck.
No way.
Light them up. Hold on, Matt. I'm gonna watch you.
So is this 4 low recommended here or no?
I would say so.
Copy that.
I'll try once more. I think I can make it if I don't go squirrely at the bottom. So just be careful on speed. Don't go off that left. Nope, you're done again. 10-4. A little more passenger. Okay, straighten out, straighten out.
The section when I thought I could back up and make it up this hill on my own. Turns out I needed to air down. I didn't air down, but I still ended up making it up all the way up the hill.
Start your turn. There you go, keep on the turn a bit. Straight back.
And then I got stuck in here trying to back down and ended up coming down sideways. So it took me a couple of runs at it and I had to end up putting it in 4 low and letting her eat all the way up the hill. So after got back down to the bottom of the hill, once I got a good bit of momentum moving, put the locker on and in 4 low, just had to stay in the pedal and keep her as straight as I could. She got squirrely a couple times. It got a little intimidating, I can't even lie. And this video doesn't give this hill any justice as to how steep it is.
There we go.
Safe and sound up to the top of the hill. Then it was time to roll out back the way we came and check out some of the more intricate parts of this trail. And we popped out on the road a few times, but you guys will see. It was a pretty good time. Here we had to pull out onto the main road and get everybody out of 4 low so they could set their truck up for the next little stretch of side road we were on here, or main drag, whatever it was, and continue on to the next trail.
We'll be going quickly, but I doubt you want to be sitting at 4,000 RPM. This actually looks like snowmobile tracks were on that car track, so that's interesting.
Well, you figure they're going to run wherever they can.
It actually looks like just one snowmobile. Everything before that is snowed over. Hey Dave, I'm going to stop here to turn off my traction control, so hold on.
Copy that. Yeah, I had to do the same thing before I pulled out onto the asphalt.
There you go. LED bulbs on this, didn't you?
I did, and I was trying to figure out whether they seemed dimmer than the non-LEDs that I had in them before, but I also need to figure out re-aiming them so I could fuss around with them after the whole bumper thing. Basically, I think they're aimed lower than they would be, but with this it's perfect because they reflect off the snow right in front of me.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to want some far-reaching lights, sort of light up the woods on either side of our doors.
Just get some ditch lights for your hood.
That would definitely be a good thing to do. Get some nice yellow ones and wire them up.
For sure.
That's just about it, isn't it, man? Yep, we're at the end just now.
This was a really cool scenic overlook we pulled into. I'm not sure what it overlooks, what river, but there's a really, really nice hill here. We didn't mess around on it. It was a big turnaround here, but really cool to pull in, check it out, and get some perspective on life, and then we continued on. We had 2 Toyota FJs and a Subaru Forester, a Toyota Tacoma, and a Gen 3, I believe it was, V8 4Runner. which made for a nice little interesting group, all pretty capable vehicles altogether.
Albeit short, this is a nice little trek back here.
Yeah, it's a little out of the way from the rest of the dirt around here, but it's a neat spot to come see and do a little bit of driving.
Absolutely.
I like the effect the up and down has on the headlights.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, all these up and downs and stuff would probably be great fun in a snowmobile.
They'd be short enough, everyone would be a jump.
I think they're fun now.
Absolutely.
Did you end up deciding to record what's going on tonight, Dave?
I did. I just realized when we got to the top of the hill, before we all went down it and got stuck, the SD card needed to be formatted. So I did get it where before we went down it, and me sliding all over on it on the way up.
Okay, so you make for an entertaining video.
For sure.
I went through all the trouble of remembering to grab the SD card from my dash cam, and I just realized it's in my pocket.
Not a bad place for it.
I normally would record, but I'm a couple videos behind right now, so better not make more work for myself.
Oh, come on. You don't want me to send you my footage so you can edit some more?
Well, depending on how late we stay out here stuck, may as well pull an all-nighter and just edit.
Fair enough.
I'm going to pull far enough onto this road for everybody to get out of the snow, and then I'm going to stop and get out of 4 low.
Copy that.
Here we were getting ready to pull back out onto the main road, do some, as you heard, downshifting out of certain gears, and then we were going to keep on going and heading towards another trail.
Does anybody else need to switch around any gears or anything?
I believe I'm all set. I can't believe it.
Driveway, but not a sign for the actual road just before it. That's smart. Seriously, you just got stuck, man. No, you did get stuck.
We are going to LOL at you hard, and I've got this on video.
Thoroughly embarrassing.
Hold on, let me get a better shot. There we go. Turn your brights off so I can see you better.
I don't know why they got the road sign on their driveway. Personal sign, and the city didn't want to put a sign on the actual road.
They wanted to feel special. What's wrong with that?
Fine, I just almost went up to their house and probably would have got shot.
Nah. You're not driving a meth vehicle. You're good.
Yeah, did you guys see, it was about a month ago on that online auction site, Cars and Bids, an FJ Cruiser with, I think it was about 4,000 original miles. It sold for $50-something thousand.
I think it got up to, yeah, 57, I want to say.
There's been a couple other similar high sales in the mid to high 40s since then on Freaking Trailer and stuff.
Well, it's there, and then the FJ Nation group, there's guys throwing them up there every now and again. There was one just on there with, oh man, I want to say like 40,000, because I've seen them as low as 5,000 miles.
I mean, these guys are in Australia, and they were talking about like 80 series Land Cruisers. People talking like 60,000 plus.
Oh, absolutely.
This is crazy. It wasn't more than 2 or 3 years ago. If you did your shopping right, you could find a triple locked Land Cruiser in the 4 digits. That's clean.
Yeah, Australia though, I think Toyota's more of a hot commodity.
Yeah, that's true, and they're more desirable than cruisers too, having the diesel engines and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows that just run the diesels and Toyota.
I think we might have talked about it at your shop before, but
yeah, man, I lost my mind. You're gonna babysit that for me a second.
You lost a what?
pickup trucks and Nissan diesel SUVs and all that. I got everything. There you go. Hey, we're all caught up, man.
Didn't someone say they lost something?
I lost momentum.
Ah, fair.
I think one of the wheels just went straight into a snowbank or something and slowed me way down.
Yeah, you definitely need momentum, not less mentum. There's a bit of an uphill through the snow to get out of this road, so don't slow down. The guy did. How's Chris doing? He's doing fine. He says he's a little stressed.
Slow and steady, buddy. Slow and steady.
I'll let y'all know if there's traffic on the road, so you can just kind of pin it to get in the street.
What, you don't want it to be a surprise?
That can be kind of fun. It's all clear now. You just want to get a good run up on it. Yeah, I'm having Matt hauled back a little bit from Dan so that he's got plenty of space.
Well, if he's holding back from Dan, I'm behind Dan, so that's going to be real fun.
Hurry up behind me.
I got to back up a bit. I went slid into the deep snow.
Yeah, that's why I got the fucking my first try on it. I guess I'm not used to having 2 FJs in the crew.
Fair enough. Twice as special.
Yeah, I got to. So I'm going to go up.
Matt, you're going to have to come back and winch him out. Haha, that's sand.
Alright, no, I'm good.
I promise that was a joke. It was just comedic for probably just myself.
Don't turn too early. It's really deep on the right there.
Yeah, definitely get into the street before you do anything. I say street, but it's a sort of place where they don't have mailboxes.
This proved to be a little difficult, but then we pulled out here, got on a main road for a little while, and we actually ended up crossing over the Allegan Dam, which I'd never seen before, so I thought that was super cool. At night it wasn't probably as impressive, but nonetheless I thought it was pretty neat.
Am I waiting for one more set of headlights, or is that everyone?
We are waiting for Chris.
Tricky, Chris. That's pretty tricky. Do it. Go straight.
Good job, buddy.
This is the best way to get there from where we were. Kind of have to do a couple more trails to get there. I was thinking of the one that's just a little bit behind us on this road. Oh, yeah. This is the route we took last time we were here. This first turn up here is where we started texting you to give you directions to find us. Well, I never was on the bridge last time. This is the spot where Doug Wine recollected that him and his wife were stuck in Tacoma for a good chunk of a day in a big snowdrift or something.
I could see that being fun or terrible, depending on your perspective.
I'm going to have Chris go into 4 low, man. Yeah, we'll be on, for the most part, trails for the next little while, so if people want to get into low or any of that, any of the short dirt road bits, I can just keep it a little slower. Okay, he's good to go. Thank you. Have you had a chance to drive all the Allegan Trail before, Dave?
I have not. This is actually my first time out here in Allegan at all, other than, you know, going to the fair or whatever it is, carnival thing.
How much you like that paint job?
She's a trail rig, brother.
You are going to pinstripe it in about another 5 minutes.
Nah, such is life.
That was good.
I think I've gotten my fair share a little bit here and there already.
I remember when I was concerned about my paint.
I never really worried about it. I mean, as soon as I bought this, I've got scrapes and scratches just from bumping off stuff in my own driveway trying to get out when it was snowed in. So, she's a trail rig. That's what I bought it for. Now, my wife's Forerunner, on the other hand, we'd be sending that thing out to paint after this.
I think that's kind of how I treated this thing for the first year or so, maybe half a year. I was getting it on the trails, and then I'd get home and grab polishing compound and be rubbing out every scratch and scrape in it and re-waxing it to get a new finish on it. Yeah, it's a lot more fun when you simply don't care in the slightest.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say don't care so much as enjoy the purpose of for what you bought it.
Made by you, Paul. Slap a bunch of that all over it. Problem solved.
I'm good with scratches. I just don't like door dings. I don't want any dents. Especially hate door dings because it came from a parking lot. I mean, if I'd done it on a trail and put a ding in it, it's like, yeah, I remember when I got this ding on the right-hand side just in front of the passenger door. It was one of my first trail rides. But somebody hits me with their car, man, it's going to just make me mad.
Agreed.
Fake trail dings are badges of honor.
They're earned, not given.
Not always, you know, gloriously earned, but earned all the same.
For sure.
Like sometimes you don't watch where you're going with backup cameras and parking assist and you still hit a tree.
I don't want to even talk about that first bumper I had to put on the wife's brand new Forerunner.
That had to have been pricey.
We have a friend who does paint, so it was like $250 for the bumper and then another $200 to paint it. So it didn't cost us nothing, but she was still not happy about it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then she took out a mailbox backing up, a wooden mailbox post, and crushed the entire corner of the bumper cover. So I didn't feel so bad.
The definite benefit to just having plain plastic bumpers that don't need any paint or anything.
Right.
I used to have an extra front bumper, and then somebody hit the front of my car with a bumper. Pro tip, don't go 80 to 90 miles miles an hour down a residential road with a speed limit of 25 miles an hour, and certainly not when the police are after you.
All bad.
My car wasn't too bad because they hit someone else's car first, and they destroyed both their car and the other person's car. It was quite the sight.
That's why I'm glad I have a driveway. We had someone do that on my street this past summer. They ripped their front tire right off and tried to keep going drunk.
Yeah, these people, by the time their car came to a rest in my car, the tires were ripped off, the suspension had exploded on their car, there was a chunk ripped out of the road, and then they got out of it and ran. They didn't know what else to do.
Yep, they did the same thing in my neighborhood. There was a car behind them they all jumped into and took off and left a Chevy Suburban sitting there in the middle of the road with the wheels ripped off, front wheel ripped off. Watch out for them soft shoulders. They'll sneak right up on you. I've already caught one myself.
They didn't want to get pulled over with no registration, so they ran.
No, they were drunk in my case.
Without registration.
That's a big disaster to get yourself in just for the ticket for having no registration.
Yeah, and then all the wrecking of the other people's their car and other people's cars. And of course, I'm not far from the state police headquarters in Grand Rapids, so they had the K9 unit out within like 5 minutes.
Ours, we had everybody in the neighborhood run out and chase them down and get license plate numbers and stuff.
What trail is this, Matt? This isn't Old Allegan. We're getting there. I said there's a couple trails we have to get to first. There's no direct way to get there without looping completely around for quite a few road miles. Kind of zigzag on some roads through here. That car's pretty far off, but I'll wait for him because I don't feel like shifting out of low. We're going to be only on this road for a short distance. And whenever you're ready, Matt.
Probably be changed this summer.
Sorry, which fluid?
Much.
That would probably be a good idea. And your transmission gear oil, because it's probably got a lot of bits of clutch in it. Don't forget, once it's summer, you have to change your blinker fluid to the summer blend.
This trail wasn't so bad. It was a little more of the ups and down bumps. We had a few of them, though, that once we got into them and you watched where you were going, oh man, they were pretty interesting.
Hey, O'Brien, thanks for inviting me on my first night ride. This is awesome. Hey, you're welcome. It looks way different at night, don't it? And in the snow.
Same. Appreciate it.
Glad you guys could join us. This is always more fun with more friends. I think the only thing I dislike about night runs is, now that I know how fun they are, I'm going to have to stay up darn late in the summer to do more night runs.
Especially after it's rained a few times.
would be fun. Nighttime in Allegan and all muddy.
Especially because most of us have winches too, so that helps out immensely.
That's why we gotta set up a proper, like, overlanding camping trip sort of deal this summer, Matthew.
100%. Get a couple days in a row of wheeling and camping.
Now that I happen to have, well, not me personally, my parents, but happen to have a place up in the UP, we can make it as a sort of base camp.
Yeah, that'll be excellent. I definitely want to do some research on that 7-hour plane crash trail. I hear that's a really great one, and I think that might actually be kind of near to where your parents' place is.
No, it's not. The 7-hour plane crash is almost over by Wisconsin.
Ooh, alright. That's less convenient.
Yeah, and I don't know, I hear different parts of it are open at different times depending on logging.
That'll require a lot more research.
From what I understand, a lot of the good trails in the UP are logging roads, and when they're not logging that area, it's just public access maintained by the Forestry Service. But when they are logging, they're completely closed to people, because otherwise they got giant trucks coming and going.
Right, makes sense. Other than I know Dan's been to Drummond Island, have any of you guys been to the UP for four-wheeling?
I have with my Razor. Manistee National Forest is a riot.
Less than an hour from Drummond, so there's that.
Manistee National Forest, I've been up there, I think, twice by Christmas, Michigan. That was a good time.
There's a lot of excellent trails up there. I definitely want to go up there a few more times this summer. I know there's so much I haven't explored yet. I got a couple of GPS files from Jeremy at New Holland Overland of Manistee National Forest. I've probably got 250 miles of trails to explore, and I've already only done about 60 of them. To get to where we're going that parallels this, but it is just a straight shot to my map, and this one is really squiggly, so I figured it'd be a lot more fun.
For sure.
The great thing about a night run like this is I have absolutely no idea if I've done any of these trails before.
As far as I can tell, we might have done it earlier tonight. We could double back on the exact same path, and I bet most of it wouldn't be recognizable.
I'm looking at my GPS, and it tells me at least we haven't been through this way, so that's nice.
Boy, it would be a bitch if we met oncoming traffic right now.
For them, maybe.
Oh, now I know where we are.
Yep. We're about here. Nice spot. information on the weather currently? Is the snow coming soon?
Wife said 8 o'clock.
I just pulled up the weather map, and it's definitely over Lake Michigan heading this way. Touching the lake shore on this side.
Where is it touching in at?
I think in the woods with snow falling, because that is a very cool experience. Touching in Holland, but that's as big as my map was showing. Yeah, I just pulled up next route, and it's touching in Benton Harbor and in Muskegon, but it's quite a ways out at our height. I'm going to doubt that it's going to snow before we get off the trails here. All right. It just means it's going to be a nice snowstorm for the drive home on the highway.
Yeah, you just putted along. It's fun. Still the same fun. Just a little more challenging. You're on slick ice.
Yeah, I'm really not feeling where you have lack of snow right now. This is kind of challenging. I've been driving pretty exclusively with one hand, so I can be working the map with my other hand. And it's anytime I get to the side, it's kind of hard to control it with just one hand on the wheel.
I've been driving one-handed all night with one hand on the radio or grabbing a chug of water.
I don't have any hands on my steering wheel. It's a hell of a lot scarier than what you guys are dealing with. I bet. You guys know I have that Knickers knob on my steering wheel, huh? I love the thing. That's right, yeah, that'll probably be pretty nice for off-roading. The manual. Yeah, when I'm working the radio and the gear shift and the steering wheel, it's great. Dashboard lights soon. They're getting kind of dim on me. This might be stupid, but if you check the dimmer switch, it's all the way up. So this is mostly pertinent to the Toyota guys, but you've noticed obviously that you don't have a trans temp gauge. And hang on, it's somebody with two hands. Of course, you've got that idiot light in your dash to tell you when the trans is overheating. But from the research I've done, you don't want to rely on just that light because it doesn't come on until a fair bit over 300 degrees. So I would suggest looking into adding a trans temp gauge, especially for wheeling like this where you're plowing through snow a lot.
It's not a bad idea.
Good idea.
How did you have a wheel come off?
So that was New Year's Day last year. And I don't remember where the trail is exactly. I'm sure I could find it if I looked on a map. But front right tire came off. All of the lug nuts came off. I'm not sure exactly how. Don't want to point blame at the shop that last worked on it, and I don't want to not take responsibility myself for not double checking them all, but tire just flopped off and messed up a bunch of the studs, and of course it was right in the middle of mud, so it was a unfun time to get the tire back on.
Oh, I bet, especially if it was a different set of rims that require a specific lug nut too.
Yeah, I had to borrow a couple lug nuts from my dad's truck, one from each wheel, because mine got lost along the trail, and they didn't quite fit quite right. I had to pull over and re-torque them pretty much every 5 miles the whole way home.
That's one of the things I learned years ago with the Razor guys when we were all out, is I always carry a complete set of extra lug nuts.
Yep, that is now in my box of things I've got.
Yeah, funny how that happens, isn't it? It only takes once.
Oh yeah, I should probably plan ahead on the more big things though. Maybe get myself an extra tie rod and a spare tire.
Well, I know for the FJ guys, a lot of times they recommend we carry ball joints and at least one CV axle.
Yeah, pretty much same for the Forerunners. I've got a cheap auto parts store CV axle on one side. I'm gonna replace that with a better one at some point and just keep this one for a spare, unless it breaks before then.
Yeah, I don't know what they recommend you carry for a Subaru Forester.
The gaskets.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a trail side repair.
Depends on how determined you are.
We are coming up on a sharp left-hand turn, and then we will be on Old Allegan Road. Can't even tell I'm stopping here, so I put it in 4 low. This traction control is driving me nuts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm good. I recommend slow down for the corners so you actually stay in the ruts instead of sliding wide and almost getting stuck.
You've already opened it up for us.
Hey, you're welcome. That was on purpose.
Totally.
Alright, Chris got her on the turn just fine. Alright, Dave, in case you can't tell, here's about where you might end up getting some pinstriping.
Oh, I've noticed.
You've heard. This is what we refer to as the pretty wide open area on the trail. Time now you'll want to go ahead and turn your recirculated air on, because we're going to be talking about the compost displays relatively soon. Probably won't smell too much on a cold day like today, but it can be bad. If it were sunny, I'd say look to your left when we get to this clear spot, and you will see a massive pile of crap. But you can't see it. Remember the first time Matt and I came through on this trail with the group, I think it was on the Annie run, but it was so overgrown on this section we're entering that as the tree branches were coming back together from the vehicle in front, you couldn't see it anymore. They did a pretty significant trimming 2 or 3 years back, but it's still pretty overgrown. Not so bad right now. Last time when we came through with all the snow that was fresh on all these branches, they were smacking windshield height. Especially in the spring and summer when all the greenery comes in, you're really tucked into this little 2-track here. Definitely not a trail you want to have oncoming traffic. Tom, do you fold your mirrors in? Nah, I figure if they need to fold in, they'll do it on their own. That just reminded me, Dan, you used to put those Gorilla Tape covers over your mirror. Just like happened just now. Christopher hit a tree and pulled the mirror in for me. Yeah, so I got those Gorilla Tape covers were kind of janky. But I found on Amazon some hard covers, and that's what I have on now. I just painted them black. They're nice. They protect the real mirror.
I just had mine get pinned to the window, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Imagine being wide enough to have to worry about your mirrors.
Yeah, I hit a mirror too. It popped back in place, but it's wide vehicles. I can't imagine off-roading a full-size Land Cruiser or something like, man.
That's what clear views are for.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if Clearview makes mirrors for my vehicle, because they do sell this as the Hilux Surf in Australia. Of course, when Christopher got in to start driving, he didn't start his driver's ed timer, so he's not getting any credit for these hours. That's unfortunate. If it has a GPS or something on it, I'm not sure if it would get angry and try to report him to the police for what he's driving or something. You're not supposed to do that. No!
Yeah, but he's not doing over a speed limit, so he'd probably still be okay.
I know he would be. I mean, these are all legitimate roads we're on, and he's driving at an appropriate speed, and it's nighttime driving, so it would have been really good. You know, this would have been, we're going on well over an hour since he took over, and he needs time and mileage to count, and the different types of weather and different type of lighting.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
This is roughly it. Good then? Pulling out on a real road now, so I'll stop so everybody can get out of low range and all that. Doesn't look like anybody's coming back here in a little bit. That's kind of cool.
Right after our next break is where it really started to get fun. There were some pretty big holes we drove through, so got interesting. Really fun.
It's perfectly shaped for it.
We should hop out and take a look here. You got a few different options on where you want to drive, so we can inspect them.
Big hole.
Giving up on that.
Your clearance will be tight. I was hitting my skid plate.
This next one was even bigger. It was pretty fun.
Nice.
Ho, ho, ho.
nobody had any trouble? And Chris is through it. Chris, you drove through that? Yes, he did.
I may go radio silent in a bit here. My other second radio is starting to beep.
CB hooked up?
I do.
Mine on to 4 just so you can communicate if you need to.
Alright, made it out of under my own power, but there's some deep snow in bits.
Oh yeah, I can't remember if I said it on the radio yet, but breaking trail through this is pretty awesome.
I'm laughing at the skid plate tracks all through it.
I had no idea at first that we were the first ones going down through here. I'm the fourth vehicle back, and then I've got the Tacoma behind me, so I had no idea how far into this we had gotten, and that we were the first vehicle since it snowed real heavy through this path.
Well, since we're nearing the end here, I'll go ahead and, well actually no, never mind. We'll all be heading back to the trestle step, so we won't do parting words just yet. We're all going to need to borrow one of the compressors.
Yeah, I've got one too.
That's a challenging bit. Hey, was this the challenging quote trail that Doug took us down, Matt? What was that? Okay, that was fun. It was a lot harder in the snow. The spot Chris drove through that we were all talking about was the place where I had the camera set up last time. That was a challenging route that Dave said, right? Yeah, it's completely different here during the dark. I didn't recognize it until we went through, and I recognized that tight turn, but without the trees to drive over and everything, it was really weird. Yeah, that's right, I forgot. We went over quite a few sizable logs back there, and you didn't even notice.
I've been pretty impressed with the FJ thus far, for sure.
Yeah, I've been impressed. Nobody's really had issues except that one hill. This has been, more challenging than I was counting on entirely, especially since it's fresh snow through here. Yeah, but for some reason a 14-year-old can do it. Expensive custom axles welded underneath or any of that stuff. A 15-year-old. He just turned 15 in December, sorry. Ouch, that hit hard. Thanks for the warning. My leaf springs from hell are going to need that heads up.
I managed to stay out of some of them. There's some deep holes here.
Air down, I hit sideways on that one pretty good. Could have popped a beat if I was aired up. Yeah, Tom and Dave, you're going to go as fast as you can through this.
Oh yeah, that sounds like fun.
Flat out.
pulled in here just to do a little bit of a pit stop and everyone change out of gears and get back into the gears they wanted to be in, and then we headed out.
Snowmobiles kind of threw me off for a second. So we're taking a trail to get out. Yep, that's what I've got on my map here. I have the overlay for streets turned on, it slows the way down. If you look in the bushes and in the trees above, you can see some sparkles. There's Christmas decorations tied up out here for some reason. I'm going underneath the gold one right now.
This was a pretty nice, fun, and smooth way to end the night. It was just nice to get out with a bunch of other guys that knew what they were doing and helped me kind of get some seat time and learn the ins and outs of Allegan and some of its back roads and seasonal roads.
Losing crest, man. Slow down a bit. Alright. So, Tom, can I drive your truck on the next run? I get to drive yours then, is what that means, right? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I think you might be better off letting Chris drive your truck, Dan. I've only had this stuck once, maybe twice. Chris got his stuck in the lawn. Yeah,
Sorry, Chris, I didn't feel like editing that out.
back on pavement now, and